Hello there, how's it going? Orinoco here, again. I know, you already know. We're going to talk about mistakes and myths about nitro cars and things like that in a minute, but I want to get this out of the way. I recently done a little video with Hobby King, and they gave me some batteries to try to test, review and all this stuff. Between us, between Hobby King and me, we're going to give them away now. They're going to go to one of you lot. So we got a 3S LIHV 3S 5400 milliamp hour 80C Voltex, one of their new batteries, and we've also got a Turnigy Rapid 5000 milliamp hour. This one is 2S 7.4 volt, obviously 100 to 200C discharge. A very good battery, and they are good. I have used them, but only a few times. But anyway, they'll be going to one of you lot. I haven't yet decided whether I'm going to give one battery away as one and another one to another one, or if I'm going to give them both away. But I have decided the only way that you can potentially win is to be subscribed to this channel. You haven't got to pay a single penny. All you got to do is subscribe, comment on some videos, like the videos. I can tell you if you've done all three of those. Go down the list, pick someone out, and you get a battery. Simple as that. It is 100% as simple as that. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, I can't ship lipos. I know shops and that probably can, but I've looked into it quite extensively, and me as an individual person, I can't find a way to ship a lipo battery across the pond or anywhere like that. So it's going to have to be within the UK, I'm afraid. Unless it's just going to cost a fortune. But there we go. Subscribe, and you haven't got to think, oh, you might just win a battery. I often give away stuff randomly to subscribers anyway, and a lot of the stuff I can ship across the world because it's just stuff, so I can just post it wherever I want. It's not a battery or nothing. So yeah, stay subscribed and you might get something random. Simple as that. Let's talk about nitro engines. Right, let's start with one that's going to annoy some people, because I don't know, I think it's quite fun really, but a lot of people are misconcepted with it. Can you use easy start on a nitro engine? The answer to that, my friends, is of course you can. Is it a good idea? Probably not. Will it achieve the outcome that you want? And the outcome that you want, obviously, is to get the engine started. Yeah, it will achieve that outcome, and it will get the engine started. Will it do some damage, you know? No, probably not, if you don't use too much of it. It is possible to blow the head off of an engine with too much easy start. But the real question that you really need to be asking yourself is, do you really need to do that? Do you really need to get the easy start? You can use it. You can squirt it down the carburetor and it will start the engine, and probably start it long enough to prime it and to get it running properly. But you don't need to, because all you could really have to do is just shove a little bit of nitro, take the air filter off, which I won't do because it took a while to get that one on. Take it off, shove a bit of nitro, get your nitro bottle, shove a bit, just a bit, not too much, just a bit in that throat of that carburetor with the throttle open. Get it to go in there, and that, my friends, will be more than ample enough to get it to start. If it doesn't start with that, you've got a problem. Now, I've gone a bit off topic and a bit too far with it, because the original question was, can I use easy start on a nitro engine? But I can't help but elaborate, because it might help some of you out. So anyway, a little bit of a tip there that I didn't mean to give. If you can't get your engine to start, put a bit of nitro down the throat of there, and that will tell you whether your glow plug's any good, or if your engine's actually any good at all. Because if it doesn't start with the nitro down the throat of the carburetor, there is a problem with the glow plug, the glow starter, or maybe the engine's a bit low on compression, or maybe there's another problem. But you're bypassing the carburetor. So, you know, if there's a blockage in the carburetor or in the pipe or somewhere, you're bypassing that by putting the nitro down the throat of the carburetor. So really, it's a good diagnostics tip as well. Didn't even mean to do that. Wow. Right, another myth that I hear very often, and I often get asked loads of questions about. Is it alright? There's two things here. The first one, is it alright to mix different types of nitro fuel together? Now, I do this all the time. This is my, I'll call it my salvage bottle, I suppose. This is a bottle, it's got that fuel in there is a mixture of God knows what. Whenever I get an old Nitro car, and if it has some fuel in the tank, I suck it out. Well, sometimes I just burn what's in there, but if I need to take the tank out or do anything, I'll suck it out with this bottle. And this is just literally a mixture of all different Nitro brands, percentages, probably not just Nitro, it's probably got different, you could have anything in there. And I use it. When I go and run a car, I do often put this in the car to burn it off, because, you know, we don't want to waste it, do we? And it works perfectly fine. You know, it goes without saying that it may knock a tune out. You know, if you've tuned your carburetor to be running really, really well with 25% Optifuel, for example, and then you go and stick a mixture of 20, 25, 16 different brands, everything in one lump, you stick it in that tank, it may knock that tune out a little bit. I don't notice it being too bad, but listen, to me, just adjusting the needle once or twice is no hardship. To some people, it's a massive inconvenience, and they literally go and complain about it to the entire world. But to me, it's not. So you've got to bear in mind that it may not run perfectly until you adjust the carburetor to run with that type of fuel a little bit, but it's perfectly doable, and you don't need to go wasting any nitro, tipping it away, because you've got to suck it out the tank and now you think it's had it, it's dirty or whatever. Just bloody reuse it. Now, the other question that I get asked all the time is, I run my car on Model Technics fuel. Is it okay? I can only buy Optifuel now. I go in the shop and they only sell Optifuel. I can't get Model Technics. Can I still run my car? Well, of course you can. And if you go into any model shop, the chances are that they probably will tell you to stick to the same brand of fuel and the same percentage forever. And if you do change it, you're going to have to retune the whole lot. It's going to be a complete disaster. Not quite as mad as it seems, because sometimes it can knock an engine out a little bit. You know, because of the way they mix it, it's different percentages of oil, different ingredients. They might do stuff differently. Really, nitro fuel is only one thing, but some companies add different percentage, different types of oil, castor oil, just different blends. You know, and obviously the percentage will make a difference. Generally, you'll find the higher percentage, that's 25%. If you run 30%, that will definitely hide bad tuning, because there's so much oil in it that it will just smoke all the time, regardless of how lean it is, and you can accidentally run your engine too lean but with too much smoke. I know it sounds contradictive, but you can do it, and it'll hide bad. The lower the percentage, 16% or 12%, for example, or even lower than that, 10%, requires a more precise tune, and it requires you to be a bit more skillful with your tuning. But you can still get the same, or thereabouts. It's an arguable topic. In my experience and my opinion, you can get pretty much the same power from those percentages as a higher percentage if you take the time to tune your carburetor properly. But it will be a bit more finicky as well. It will be more finicky. You know, it'll be more susceptible to temperature changes and all that stuff, where people just seem to go, oh, the carburetor won't hold a tune. You've just got a low percentage of nitro and you're not very good at tuning. So, in my opinion, you know, you can change brand, no problem. Just put it in, start it up, and go and have some fun. If you find that it does run a bit leaner, it's got that giggity sound, literally just add a little bit more fuel and go and enjoy your day and stop worrying about things that don't need to be worried about in life. So another question that I get asked a lot is, my nitro car, the exhaust has got a leak. I don't want to run it because it might damage the engine. No, it won't do a single dicky bird. If you've got the type where you've got the rubber coupling here, I haven't got any to demonstrate because they're all in the box or packed away, but you can get the type with the rubber coupling there. They sometimes leak out the rubber coupling, particularly if you're missing the cable tie. It won't matter a monkey's uncle. However, it will potentially affect the way the engine runs. It may be slightly different to what it could be, and it probably won't be to its full potential, because the way the exhaust works on a two-stroke is it puffs out a bit a bit of fumes and then sucks it back in again, and then puffs it and then sucks it back in. It's a bit of a an art to get an exhaust right for a 2-stroke engine, and Nitro being 2-stroke, that counts all the same. But if you've got a bit of a leak, it won't matter. In fact, it is possible to take it off here, don't run this pipe, just have a manifold, or just have nothing, and the engine will run and drive, albeit very, very loudly. And yes, you will have to find a way of pumping the fuel into the engine, because the exhaust is the fuel pump, effectively. So that brings me on to, will it affect the fuel? Somebody asked me, my exhaust has got a leak. I don't care about the leak, but will it affect the way that the fuel is being pumped into the engine? Now, let me explain how that works. So, the way that these Nitro engines work, the engine is the fuel pump. In your real car, you've got a fuel pump. Old cars have mechanical ones with a cam that go on something in the engine like a gear, and it turns the pump mechanically, which then pumps the fuel through the injection pump if it's diesel, or up into the carburetor if it's petrol. Modern cars have electric pumps. When you turn on the ignition, they go meep, and they pump the fuel into the injection system, or fuel injection these days, no really any carburetors. But with a Nitro car, because the tanks are there, they're not gravity fed, as some people are misled. They're not gravity fed. The engine is the pump, so that's why you prime your engine manually by yourself. You prime it to get the fuel in there to get the process started. When you start the engine, it pumps fumes from burning that first bit of nitro. It pumps fumes out. Then fumes come down the exhaust. Most of them come out the end. Some of them, there's a little baffle in here and a few holes. Now some of them get redirected up this nipple, and they go down this pipe, and they go inside your fuel tank, and they go through a little hole there. And what happens is, there's a bit of pressure here, just enough pressure in this pipe to pressurize this tank, which then pushes the fuel down the pipe and into the carburetor. So it kind of goes without saying that if you've got a leak here, there's not going to be much, well, there's going to be less, I should say, there's going to be less pressure going down this pipe, because some of it's coming out of the leak. So yeah, it could affect the way your engine runs, in the way that it could not be getting the right amount or enough nitro. So you have to look at that. Yes, it could affect the way that it runs via pressure. I don't think it'll really affect it unless the leak is huge. If it's just a little one, you notice a little bit of oil coming out of it after a couple of hours of running, or you notice a little puff of smoke coming out of it now and again, you don't need to be stressing yourself over it. It ain't going to make a monkey's uncle's difference. Just go and have some fun. Just run it and use it. As long as your engine sounds good, and we talked about this in other videos, you need to learn the sounds and the feel. You can feel your car through your transmitter, as strange as it sounds. You'll know what I mean after a few years' experience. But the sound, your ears and your eyes are probably the key feature of learning to tune an engine, and when an engine sounds and looks like it's running properly. You can look at that engine, and even if you don't see the exhaust, I know some of you are going to say you're a cock, but you can see if that engine's running well just by looking at it, without even seeing if there's any smoke coming out of the exhaust or not. You just can. Well, I can. Maybe I'm psychic, I don't know. Maybe I can read engine. I'm an engine whisperer. I don't know. But you can. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different day. So, yeah, a leak could affect it. I wouldn't worry about it unless it's huge. Simple as that. I've got some more, but I'm going to save them for another video. I think this one's gone on long enough. If you've got any questions about nitro engines, nitro cars, even petrol ones, I'll cover some petrol stuff. But if you've got any questions, anything you want to know, if you think I've made a mistake on something there, please comment it, and I'll read the comments and add them to my list for the next video. And if you have got any questions, if you comment, not only I, but other people that should hopefully know what they're talking about, can comment back to you and help you out as well. Don't forget, subscribe, because you may win one of these batteries. These are brand new batteries. I've used them a few times and to do the review video. They're from Hobby King. yeah, it's as simple as that. I'll catch you on the next one. I hope the information that I give you helps in some way or another. Even if it just helps one person, I think I've done my job. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, you lot. All the best.